श्री अधीर रंजन जी चौधरी जी।
Sir, before the discussion set in motion, already a controversy has been come into being as to the norms, rules, regulations, conventions, precedents, etc. with regard to the financial bills. And I think it's very important issue. It should not be declined in an arbitrary manner. Sir, we know that this year 2 financial bills have been brought into. A financial bill, as we know, should be preceded by the demands for grants and the connected appropriation bill. Just yesterday it has been passed. And the sequence in regard to the budget as provided in Article 112, 115 of the Constitution should be followed. Sir, I am very much in agreement with the contention of my esteemed colleague Mr. Prema Chandran that the government has been encroaching upon the territory of Parliament and thereby trampling the parliamentary privilege which has been practiced since decades. So the financial bill 2009 was introduced in the Lok Sabha on July 5, 2019. So the financial bill is a money bill which gives effect to tax changes proposed in the union budget, we all know. A money bill is defined in Article 110 of the Constitution as one which contains provisions related to taxation, borrowings by the government or expenditure from the Consolidated Fund of India. A money bill only needs the approval of the Lok Sabha and is sent to the Rajya Sabha for its commendation. It is deemed to be passed by the Rajya Sabha if it does not pass the bill within 14 days. Sir, in the year 2019, in addition to tax changes, it has been proposed to amend several laws such as Securities Exchange Board of India, Central Goods Services Tax, National Appellate Authority of Advance Ruling on GST matters. So overall, it has been found that the bill amends 18 laws which are not related to tax proposals connected with the union budget, and there lies the rub. Sir, Finance Bill have included items which do not relate to imposition or changes in taxes. Some of these amendments are substantive in changing regulatory framework, and such changes would normally be introduced as ordinary bill in Parliament. This is our contention. That the Finance Bill 2016 included amendments to create the Monetary Policy Committee to target inflation, non-taxable. These are all. No. These are all non-financial items. The Finance Bill 2017 amended over 17 laws which established various tribunals. It changed the composition of 19 quasi-judicial bodies such as Securities Appellate Tribunal, National Green Tribunal and Telecom Dispute Settlement and Appellate Tribunal. Finance Bill 2018 had 218 clauses, of which around 50% were on issues unrelated to taxes. For example, several laws such as Securities Contract Regulation Act 1956, SEBI Act 1992 and the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002 were amended to increase penalties for various offences further. So currently
माननीय सदस्य
आप तय करोगे क्या? मैं क्या बोलूं? आप तय करोगे? ये तो स्पीकर है यहाँ, स्पीकर सब तो है, आप क्यों तय करते हैं? मैं क्या बोलूं ना बोलूं? अरे
मेरा आपसे आग्रह है।
मैं किस लिए बोल रहा हूँ सर, सुन लीजिए।
हाँ।
इसके बाद मैं किस लिए बोल रहा हूँ आप मुझे बैठा दीजिए।
नहीं माननीय
जो मर्जी
सदस्य आपका अधिकार है।
सर, इसलिए मैं कह रहा हूँ सर, प्लीज नोट।
व्यवस्था पर सवाल मत उठाओ
सर, व्यवस्था पर मैं सवाल कभी नहीं पूछा।
ठीक है,
मैंने कहा कि पिछले दिनों में ऐसा हुआ करते थे। आपने अपने रूलिंग में भी कहा, एक मिनट, आपने रूलिंग में कहा कि पिछले 2016-17 में जो व्यवस्था दिया गया है उसको जिक्र करते हुए उसको आप इनको पारित करने का मौका दिया। इसका मतलब आपके पहले भी ये रूलिंग था, फिर भी ये दोहराने का क्यों जरूरत पड़ा? क्यों इससे दोहराने का जरूरत पड़ा? पहले भी तो रूलिंग था। नहीं, खैर खुद रूलिंग दिया। सर, किसका जिक्र किया? 2016-17 की जिक्र किया।
विधेयक पे चर्चा कर रहे हैं।
आपने खुद जिक्र किया।
माननीय, आप वरिष्ठ अधिवक्ता हैं।
नो प्रॉब्लम मैडम,
वरिष्ठ अधिवक्ता हैं, लेकिन ये काम मेरा है। माननीय सदस्य, आप सभी वरिष्ठ हैं, लेकिन ये जिम्मेदारी सदन, माननीय सदस्य प्लीज माननीय सदस्य, ये जिम्मेदारी सदन ने मुझे दी है, इसलिए अधीर रंजन जी से मैंने आग्रह कर दिया इस पर व्यवस्था। ठीक है माननीय
सर, आप कल्पना में ये नहीं सोचेगा कि हम ऐसा कोई काम करेंगे कि आपको चोट लगे, आपको चेयर की कोई चोट पहुंचे।
ठीक है
सर, आप मेरा बात सुन लीजिए। क्यों मैं बोल रहा हूं ये भी आप सुन लीजिए। सर, करेंटली the Supreme Court is hearing several petitions filed against the constitutional validity of changes made to the structure and composition of tribunals under the Finance Bill 2017. One of the challenges before the court is whether the bill was validly passed as a money bill or not. Note that in earlier judgment, the Supreme Court 2018 has clarified that the decision of the Speaker on certification of a bill as a money bill is not final and can be examined by courts. That is why I am deputing the issue. Sir,
माननीय सदस्य, अभी कर्नाटक के मामले में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने डायरेक्शन दिया है कि विधानसभा का निर्णय अंतिम निर्णय है, तो अभी नया डायरेक्शन और आ गया, उसके बाद माननीय सदस्य।
इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि मैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट की जजमेंट की बात नहीं कहा हूं। सर, मैं फिर दोबारा कहता हूं, मेरा सर ऐसा कोई मनसा छोड़ दीजिए, इस चेयर को छोटा करने की कोई मुझे मनसा नहीं है और नहीं भी हो सकता, होगा भी नहीं। मैं सिर्फ ये जिक्र करता हूं सर, क्योंकि सर आप देखिए, जब हमारा सरकार थे यूपीए सरकार, तो मान लीजिए कि 100 बिल अगर आते सदन में तो 75% स्क्रूटिनी के लिए जाते थे। ये जो एनडीए की सरकार आए, जितना बिल आते हैं 20 से 25% स्क्रूटिनी के लिए जाते हैं। क्यों? इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि सदन में जिस तरीके से एक बिल को लेकर चर्चा होना चाहिए वो नहीं हो रहा है। इसका मतलब ये है कि हमारा प्रिविलेज पे एनक्रोचमेंट हो रहे हैं, इसलिए ना मैं चिल्लाता हूं और कुछ नहीं। जैसे कि ये फाइनेंस बिल, देखिए सर, आप बिजनेस एडवाइजरी कमेटी में आप हमें समय देते हैं, आप कहते कि 1 घंटा हम आपके ऊपर दबाव डालते, 1 से 2 घंटा होते। सर, ये बजट में सत्ता पक्ष कहे कि 8 घंटा, विपक्ष कहे कि 10 घंटा, आपने खुद दिया 12 घंटा 15 घंटा। क्यों? अब चर्चा चाहते हैं, हम भी चाहते हैं चर्चा हो, इसलिए जब एक से एक 2 सर, देखिए सर, यह मतलब 14 बिल सर ऐसा है जो इस तरीके से धड़ल्ले से पास किया जा रहे हैं। ऐसा में 2017 में हुआ, 2016 में हुआ। मैं इसी की जिक्र करता हूं और कुछ नहीं। मैं चाहता हूं कि हमारा अधिकार को हमें मौका दिया जाए। ओके मैडम, आई एम कमिंग टू योर पॉइंट। यू आर माई टीचर, यू आर माई एल्डर सिस्टर, डोंट टेक इट अदरवाइज। You are fond of elephants, so you are fond of elephants. You have referred in your budget about elephants also. So just as elephants are needed for catching other elephants, so one does need wealth for capturing wealth also. So budget should be done in such a way that there must be generation of wealth. So budget should prescribe the formula of generation wealth. It should not be a high-sounding, high-blowing description of any political agenda. That I must say. Sir, by using the revised estimate figures in the interim budget for budget numbers of revenue and expenditure, even as the provisional actual vetted by Comptroller General of Accounts and the Economic Survey were available, the security, the sanctity and correctness of the regular budget numbers have been called into question. In fact, the provisional actual numbers for both revenue and expenditure have been far lower than the revised estimate numbers used in the regular budget. Was it a deliberate attempt to show the budget numbers less challenging than they really are? It is a valid question. Yes, government has already brought some amendments. A plethora of amendments have been brought while we are on the leg of discussing the issue. It clearly indicates that government is not so serious of the financial bills, amendments, etc. Because within a few minutes, it is hardly possible for me to scrutinize all the amendments and react accordingly. You have omitted numbers related to government overall revenue and expenditure. Your response was supplementary material provided, but it is misleading and actually false. Discrepancy of tax revenue retained by the center, which were actually lower than the revised estimate by a whopping 1,65,176 crore. That is 13.5% of the revised estimate of the total tax revenue. The total transfer of central resources to the states have grown at a lower rate than center's own receipts post-devolution of state share in taxes. This is because the center has gone on increasingly levying cesses and surcharges to boost its own receipts. You are imposing cess surcharges, but it is not being devolved upon the states also. So naturally you are enjoying the earnings accrued from cess and surcharges by depriving the states. It cannot be called a cooperative federalism. Public accounts other than the Consolidated Fund of India are being randomly tapped to fund programs that ideally should be funded out of CFI, I mean Consolidated Fund of India. The National Small Savings Fund is being used increasingly to meet Food Corporation of India's funding needs and keep procurement operations going. All these are adding to the public debt and are rank ad hocism that would backfire. I told you, you have to generate wealth. This is the theme of my discussion. Sir, even in the economic survey, it was told the two cycle, either vicious or virtuous. Whether we are maintaining vicious cycle or virtuous cycle, that needs to be considered. Both savings and investments rates have come down under your government. Private investment remain elusive. The failure of public-private partnership model has put enormous burden on government finances. Of late, your government has been resorting to unprecedented and very high level of off-budget funding to keep pace to public expenditure. Even government schemes and programs like National Food Security Act are getting funded out of extra budgetary resources. All this has undermined the fiscal honesty of the government. The deficits shown in the budget are in fact gross underestimation. The economy is in a shambles. Grand schemes like Make in India, just you referred right now, the grand scheme like Make in India bore no fruits and seem to have come a cropper. The government has done little but coining new names for old schemes, making incremental progress in them but advertising them in a disproportionate manner. We should discuss the entire finance bill in a dispassionate perspective. Manufacturing sector is in a doldrums. Exports have not been going very well at all for many quarters. The private consumption sector, the main engine of the economy, is hit badly. It seems the government cannot sustain the consumption momentum through its own spending any longer. So while the economic survey talked about the economies either being a virtuous or vicious cycle at any point of time, our economy seems to be caught in a vicious cycle and heading to a bottomless pit under the watch of an inept and incompetent government. You even chosen to factor in receipts rupees 90,000 crores from the RBI balance sheet as surpluses. Sir, in her budget speech, oh, gender has been changed. No problem. Madam, in the budget speech, she says that the Indian economy will grow to become $3 trillion economy in a current year. Yes, current year. It is now the 6th largest in the world. 5 years ago, it was at the 11th position in purchasing power parity terms. We are in fact the 3rd largest economy already, only next to China and USA. Now say whether we are 6th or 3rd. Both cannot be juxtaposed, and pari passu, you cannot say that we are heading for 2 objectives. You have to define 6th or 3rd, because it is really, creating a great confusion. In para 10, the FM said, that it took over 55 years for the Indian economy to reach $1 trillion. Okay? We in 5 years added $1 trillion. Your 5 years mean 29th May 2018, your 5 years. Today, we are nearing $3 trillion level. That means after 6 weeks. FM said it took 55 years to reach $1 trillion. 5 years, $1 trillion by May 26, 2019. She says the economy is nearing $3 trillion. That is 1 trillion in just 6 weeks, as per your description of the budget. If it is so, then I must say this is the fastest expansion of any economy in the history of humankind. You are talking about $5 trillion at the end of 5 years by 2014. We all wishing it so. Heartily wishing it so. But like to know how it is probable. It is true that the Modi government in its first innings of 5 years added $0.9 trillion and the worth of Indian economy at the end of 2018-19 was estimated to be $2.7 trillion. Since they had inherited, your government has inherited $1.8 trillion from the previous Congress regime in 2014-15. Enhancement of only $0.2 trillion is so encouraging. Yes, it may be. But for 67 years before 2014, you have to look back the history. You should not say that past is a cancelled check. No. You should ponder over the past, from where we have started our journey, our odyssey to become the developing country. For 67 years before 2014, economy grew to $1.8 trillion and they contributed in 5 years to $0.9 trillion. It is to be kept in mind that Congress started after independence, having inherited from colonial masters after 190 years of constant drainage of resources from India to UK. It was the darkest period characterized as drain of oil in the history of India. In fact, Indian economy grew at the rate of less than 1% per year before independence. And after independence, for the 29 years, Indian economy grew at the rate of 3.5%. It was not a small achievement. Since 1991, I am reminding, madam, since 1991, Indian economy had a real turn towards higher growth regime from the traditional 5% or less growth to steady 7% growth per year. In the first Indian budget of independent India in 1947-48, Anurag Bhai Suno, the revenue received was 171 crores revenue received. Revenue expenditure was 197 crores, leaving a revenue deficit of 26 crores. हमारा हिंदुस्तान में बहुत सारे क्लब है, क्रिकेट क्लब, फुटबॉल क्लब, उसका बजट इससे ज्यादा है। अभी शुरू किया कहां से हम लोग, ये देखो। द करेंट ईयर्स रेवेन्यू बजट स्टैंड एट 16,49,582 crores. Revenue expenditure 24,47,780 crores and revenue deficit of 485,019 crores. From 117 crores to raise the revenue resources of the country to 1962,000 crores would not have been possible without the sustained economic development under the Congress regime of 55 years and combined opposition rules, including first innings of Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. They also have made some contribution. But what I would like to say, that you should not be so boastful. You should not be so vainglorious in projecting yourself as a savior of India. No. But the boast is meaningless. Boast is meaningless. Because these are not comparable situations. I consider it is incomparable more. We are forgetting how much resources were drained. How much resources were drained. I am not talking a long ago, just about 100 years ago. In 1927, Lord Winterton showed in the House of Commons that there were 7,500 retired employees in Great Britain drawing annually. Do you know how much dollars? 17,500,000 US dollars as pension from the Indian revenue. Ramsay MacDonald put the figure to 20,000 dollars a year. In 1783, Edmund Burke predicted that the annual drain of Indian resources to England without equivalent return would eventually destroy India. Actually, it happened. In 190 years, they left an impoverished, famine-stricken group of human beings whose annual GDP growth in the last half a century was less than 1%. In 1901, R.P. Datta estimated that one half of the net revenues of India flowed annually out of the country, never to return. Keeping that in mind, the claim of your government, I mean Modi ji 2 government, that they have done wonders and asked people to wait 5 years for the next wonder in 2024 to reach 5 trillion without outlining any roadmap. You do not have any roadmap, you do not have any action, you do not have any mission, nothing. Out of the blue, we are talking about 5 trillion economy. $5 trillion. I am telling 3 trillion. Without outlining any roadmap is nothing but taking people for a ride. Something that this government specializes in. We have already appreciated it. The growth from present $3 trillion US dollar to $5 trillion US dollar would require concrete efforts. If the Indian economy does not grow annually, 8% plus, I am talking of real GDP growth. Real GDP growth must be 8% plus. It would be difficult for finance minister to reach the targeted number. We are not jealous if you reach the targeted number, not at all. We are simply trying to get ourselves entitled of how you are going to achieve the objective. Rather, I say noble objective. Moreover, 2 important issues are to be kept in mind that for that to happen, price level will have to remain the same as it is today. And also the value of dollar in terms of rupees will have to remain unaltered at the current ratio. You are already decided to go overboard for external borrowings and risks is involved of the exposure of our economy. That has been, pointed out by various experts, including, Adhir Ranjan ji also. It's a lofty idea to emerge as the 3rd largest economy of the world, worth 5 trillion. But for that, again I am saying that a direction and targets have to be fixed. I am afraid that the budget lacks. Sir, 5 minutes.
Let me just tell you that 23 minutes was the time allocated.
No, sir. तर्क करते करते चलेगा। मेघवाल जी काट लिया मेरा समय।
अच्छा, तो
आधा हिस्सा मेघवाल जी ले लिया।
आपका समय तो खत्म हो गया है और साथ में आपका 2 स्पीकर बाकी है। आपका पार्टी का समय खत्म है।
नहीं कमेगा, नहीं ये बोलने दीजिए।
खत्म है। You can't direct this there. You can't direct this there. You can make a request.
उधर स्पीकर साहब दरिया दिली है, यहाँ फाइनेंस में भी दरिया दिली है, तो चिंता क्या
जी? Within 2 minutes.
10 minutes, madam.
No, not 10 minutes. 5 minutes and that's it.
Getting back to the drain of wealth, to put things in perspective, in 1906, the Hindman reckoned the drain to be at 40,000,000 a year. I am simply describing the position of our country which was existed earlier and now. If time does not permit, then I have to restrict my observation. If Modi's government inherited an economy worth 1.8 trillion US dollar, it is not merely by words or promises but by concrete actions. Some of the action taken, India launched the first 5-year plan in 1950 with a very modest outlay of 2,000 crores, and the outlay increased 36,44,718 crores during 9th plan period. Indian economy grew for the 10 years from 2001 to 2020 at the rate of 5.4%, 3.9%, 8%. All these years, NDA government under Bajpayee was in power. From 2004-5 to 2011-12, I am not talking of the figures of 2 years, 2012, 13-14, and the minister knows it well. In the remaining 7 years, UPA 1 and UPA 2, just 2003-4 growth was 8%, 2004-5 growth was 7.1%, 2005-6 growth was 9.5%, 2006-7 growth was 9.6%, 2007-8 growth was 9.3%, 2008-9 it was 6.7%. You know that global crisis took place at the time. 2009-10 8.6%, 2010-11 8.9%, 2011-12 6.7%. Therefore, Congress contributed to build the Indian economy through planned economic development from the first plan to 7th plan, and thereafter undertaking the massive liberalization programs in 91, 1992 by Sri P.V. Narasimha Rao and Dr. Manmohan Singh. It was possible to achieve this level of growth. Even if you look at production, you will find the growth of all sector, production, industry, agriculture, everywhere. So now, I know that the country has been gasping for employment. Yes, the employment scenario is too bleak to describe. On employment, the figures are heart-wrenching. It is said to be touching a figure higher than in any last 45 years. The rate of unemployment is sharply rising down by the government data. Unemployment has been growing by leaps and bounds. Export has been declining. We are heading towards a vicious cycle of economy, and you are boasting of 5 trillion economy. What we need? Concerted effort to build our economy, much to the desire of our countrymen. You are talking about disinvestment. Even in disinvestment, you have played a great trickery to the people of our country. The government claimed to have not only reached its disinvestment target by rupees 80,000 crores by financial year 19, but of having surpassed it by rupees 5,000 crore, not by disinvestment but by getting one PSU to buy equity in another PSU. This was the case where Rural Electrification Corporation acquired nearly 53% of Power Finance Corporation, and the government made a neat rupees 14,500 crore, or when the ONGC bought the government stake in HPCL for rupees 37,000 crore. Government managed to list only 5 companies in financial year 18-19, garnering a quality of only 2,000 crores. It was raised rupees 8,000 crores from share buyback from our own PSU. So that is why Government has been playing trickery, has been playing chicanery for the people of our country. Last quick 2 points, madam. I am proposing, Honorable Finance Minister, you should reconsider the June 24th circular by the Central Board of Direct Taxes, which makes the previously tax-free disability pensions which are paid over and above regular pension to disabled soldiers taxable. Yes. Only soldiers who are forced to leave the service prematurely due to disability incurred in service are exempt. Please, you reconsider it. I know that nowadays you are, every now and then, you are praising Mahatma Gandhi. We are also very much pleased to note it. However, I would like to say that better you should play the bhajan every day. It is good for yourself and it is good for the country. Raghupati Raghavo Raja Nam, Patito Pavana Sita Ram, Ishtar Valla Tere Nam, Sabko Sanmati De Bhagavan. Namaskar.